get a lot of back feed. Okay, I would like to ask Mrs. Stegall, parliamentarian, to please call the roll.
Chair Hamilton?
Yes.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Yes.
Secretary Whitten?
Yes.
We have quorum.
All right. We need to approve the meeting minutes for the July 18th, 2025. Are there any corrections to the meeting in the minute as presented?
Is there, now we just need a motion and a second to the meeting minutes.
So moved, Brianna.
Second.
Is there a second?
Is there any objection to the motion to approve the minutes? Seeing none, the motion passes by consensus.
Okay. At this time, I would like to ask Parliamentarian Stegall to walk us through the results of the KCTCS President's Evaluation.
Thank you. And Shannon's going to share this on the screen. Can we get rid of that little chat bubble at the top? Do I need to do it?
Yeah, that's that now. Sorry. That's
Okay.
multiple screen.
Well. There you go. All right, Shane, if you can go down to the first slide. All right, can everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the first section we had for Dr. Corl's evaluation, again, the executive committee had adopted the recommendation for his evaluation in June that was ratified by the full board in August, was increased learner success. Dr. Corl's vision was ensure the Kentucky Community Technical College system is affordable and accessible for all students by promoting available financial aid, expanding revenue sources, and ensuring efficiency of programming. Blue is exceeds, yellow is meets, gray is needs improvement, and black is insufficient information. As you can see, there is overwhelming exceeds and meets. On the first one, there was one regent that provided two answers. One of those was insufficient information. Any questions or comments on this slide? All right, next. All right, so this is the board feedback for that particular item. I'm not going to read it for you all. I know you all can see it on your screens. It was in your board materials and will be in the board materials for June as well. But this is the feedback that the board provided for that evaluation question. All right, next one under learner success, President's vision, align academic and education programs to career pathways that help ensure KCTCS provides an educated workforce for Kentucky and helps address workforce shortages in the state's top industry sectors. Again, blue is exceeds, yellow is meets, gray needs improvement, and black insufficient information. As you can see, again, overwhelmingly exceeds and meets, and there were a couple, every single one of these, I believe one regent provided, or it looks like two regents on the bottom three, and the top one had four regents requested or replied back insufficient information. Any questions on this slide?
And the gray item, I'm having trouble seeing it, but what is the gray item?
The gray is needs improvement. So one regent on the first one reported back needs improvement.
Okay, so we'll do a review of that item specifically.
Well, just
Or
that regent felt that Dr. Quarles needed improvement in that particular category.
you think we should put something like this?
Okay. Understood.
General Counsel Segal, I'm not sure if you're hearing what I'm hearing, but I think it might be the person joining us from the phone. I'm not sure who that is, but there is a lot of feedback and distortion.
I am. I don't know. Keith, can you mute them?
It's probably me. Yeah.
Oh. All right. Is that any better?
A little bit.
Yeah, I think it's whoever. I'm just not sure. I mean, I can try to mute him. Did that help? Is that better?
We lose Chair Hamilton now.
Oh, so is he joining by phone? And
Yes.
uh,
Chair Hamilton, we're going to leave you muted so there isn't any feedback. And then if you have a comment or a question, please just unmute yourself on the phone and then you should be able to jump back in.
Good.
All right. Okay. Next, the board comments on this section. All right, again, we'll leave those up there for a second for you all to review. All right, increase employment success. President's vision, build on KCTCS's statewide understanding of community needs and opportunities by establishing a collaborative, data-informed partnership initiative that aligns local entities, statewide priorities, and KCTCS programs. Again, overwhelmingly exceeds and meets, with one regent reporting insufficient information on both of these items. Any questions or comments on this evaluation metric? All right, we'll go to the board comments. The next item is employment success. President's vision, continue KCTCS's focus of being a driving force of state economic development by strengthening existing business and industry relationships, broadening skill development and employment opportunities for students. Again, overwhelmingly meets and exceeds. One regent submitted 2 answers, I believe, for the first question, and then one regent did not provide a response. All right, we'll go on and review the board comments for this one. Next item under organization success, President's vision, create a diversified and balanced approach to revenue generation to maximize funding to benefit KCTCS students. Overwhelmingly exceeds, with a fewer regents reporting meets. Any comments on this slide? All right, board comments. Organization success, President's vision, prioritize employee benefits to increase retention and improve workplace culture. Overwhelmingly reported as meets and exceeds, with one region reporting insufficient information as for the first metric. Any comments on this slide? All right, the board submitted comments. Organization success, President's vision, establish a continuous improvement model to ensure system-wide collaboration and success. Overwhelmingly exceeds, with a few regions reporting meets, and then 2 regions on 2 of the metrics reported insufficient information, or 1 region on 2 of the metrics reported insufficient information. Any comments on this slide? And the board submitted comments. All right, additional board submitted feedback and comments. You can go to the next slide. How the KCTCS President's vision and goals relate to and support the strategic plan adopted by the Board of Regents. Give you all a second to review that slide. And then the continuation of those comments. And next is board submitted feedback related to the KCTCS President's engagement with the Board of Regents. Give you all a moment to review that slide. The continuation of the comments. Additional comments from the executive committee members on that section. All right, President's accomplishments. Again, this is feedback and comments submitted from the full board. I'll give you all a moment to review this slide. And then the continuation of those comments. And the last page of comments for that section. Any additional feedback from the executive committee members for this section? All right, moving on to President's strengths. Again, these are feedback and comments submitted from the Board of Regents. Give you all a moment to review this slide. Into the continuation of the comments. Any additional board feedback for the strengths of the KCTCS president?
I'd like to think that last commenter might have that last word. I don't know that they meant to say impatience. I feel like they meant to say patience. Just as a point of note.
I saw that too.
It might be accurate. I'm not sure.
All right, and the overall evaluation and additional board submitted comments. I'll give you all a couple moments to review this next slide. And the continuation of the comments. All right, that concludes the results of the KCTCS Board of Regents presidential evaluation. Any as submitted by the Regents and compiled by our board liaison, Shannon. Any additional comments or feedbacks from the executive members on the board? All right, I know Dr. Coral submitted a written response to the evaluation. Is there one?
I think Keith is, I think he's trying to speak. Keith, you might want to remember to unmute your phone.
All right, at this time, I'll let Dr. Quarles kind of walk through his written response. Again, this is included with your materials on onboard, but wanted to give him an opportunity to talk through that as well.
Thank you, and good afternoon, and thank you so much for the evaluation process. As you heard me say last year and again this year, I'm one of those weird people that actually enjoy the evaluation process. I always like to sharpen the knife, and if there's things I need to improve on, just let me know. But first off, just want to say that your all's comments representing the Board of Regents were overwhelmingly positive and encouraging. And that really is not really a reflection of my performance, but the team that we have here across KCTCS. I just want to say thank you for our teammates that have helped make this a positive evaluation. With that said, there's a few things I'd just like to walk through with you. If you had a chance to read my written response, it's been sent out, it's on onboard for all to see. But just a few things, and then love to have a discussion, answer any questions you all may have. Before I get into it, we did notice that there were some insufficient information answers on that. I think that may have been the process itself because of the upteen or so vision and goals. Some of them will be accomplished by the June board meeting, but weren't accomplished by the time of the evaluation. So maybe for next year, we might add a supplemental document that explains the in-process ones so that we don't have an insufficient answer on so many of those. This past year has really been dominated by a big session for us, one that we came out a winner relative to other areas of state government. We were looking at a 7% cut. We got them all restored to a level funding. We had 7 of 8 of our transfers with our public four-year institutions set in stone and signed. We still have one left with KSU, but we're going to let KSU let us know when they're ready as they go through their re-envisioning process as well. And of course, it's been a year that we've done audit completions and curings and getting the budget in a better shape as well. I also want to say thank you to the Board of Regents for adopting a budget workshop. The first, we believe, in KCTCS's history. And so I think that's good governance. It's good for our Board of Regents, and it helps us define where we're going to be going for the next year. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to roll through a few points. I'm going to talk to you about some areas of improvement that I would like to work on myself over the next year. But as you know, we're coming off another historic year with enrollment up well over 6%. We believe 120,000 plus students across the system. We'll have to confirm those numbers. You add in our workforce training of 70,000 Kentuckians plus the work we do with our firefighters. We believe this is the first time in our history where we are educating and training at or over 200,000 people over the past calendar year, which is historic for us. And again, a 50% plus graduation rate. And we just found out last week, it's 51% of our graduation rate, which puts us about 17, 18 points above the national average. And that really is the work of our faculty and staff and all those out there along the corners of the Commonwealth, giving our students that extra support and wraparound services that they need. This past year, we had numerous challenges ranging from FAFSA implications, aggressive growth in dual credit, which I'll come back to in a second, the proliferation of fraudulent loan applications, which is something that's not unique to Kentucky or KCTCS. But another historic note is that for the first time in the history of our state, we announced common course numbering between 2 public institutions. So with Moorhead and KCTCS, that really raised some eyebrows and I believe raised expectations. And we believe we'll have other institutions following Moorhead's lead as well with common course numbering as well. Going back to dual credit, this has been an area of proliferation for us. It's good public policy for Kentucky to start college while you're in high school. And in many areas of our state, it can be argued that we're teaching the senior year, which is great public policy. However, as you know, we get half revenue off that, and just recently, IKEA made the administrative decision to only fund one general ed course, but also fund both or 2 technical classes. This will be challenging. I know that I've spoken to several of you on this call about the implications of this. We're still trying to predict how that will affect us, but it brings us to a larger point, which will be part of the goals and vision for the next year, is dual credit strategy, in addition to the financial aspect of that as well, especially since it's been such a growth area for us, which is something to be proud of. At the same time, it's having implications on the budget side as well. I'm also happy to announce that we launched a new annual fundraiser with our Clay Classic. We raised about $30,000. This is on top of our Serving Up Solutions food insecurity event. So these are two signature fundraising events that we're putting on every year, raise about $50,000 with Serving Up Solutions. We think both of these are going to be scaled up this year. So I'm trying to focus more on my role as a fundraiser. That's something, admittedly, so my first year did not get to spend the time on that I wanted, but I've got a Rolodex. I want to use it. So that's something I want to focus on this next year. That'd be an area of improvement for me, is to raise more money as well. We're implementing Anthology Reach. It's a multi-year process there. We're also implementing the CPE's 10 essential skills. If you read my response, we want to add AI competency in there. So maybe we'll just call it the 11 essential skills. I've also heard not just from Regents, but from students. This was an area that I think correctly so said needs improvement this past year, is that we do need to have more student activities and competitions. We did meet with the National Junior College Athletics Association this past year. We do have some colleges that want to explore this. I think the safe moves for us this next year would be building up our esports presence across the system. The robotics leagues, where we can afford it, have been great as well. They do come with a cost price tag, but also maybe even look at something that may be more community oriented, like pickleball leagues, etc., things like that. And so we're happy to work with our students, our student regents, about ways we can increase student activities as well. Just moving forward efficiently here, we launched KCTCS for Kentucky last June. I think we've hit at or close to half of our colleges with these forums. We actually have one next week at Gateway. This has been a great way that when I travel to all 16 colleges, which is an expectation I do annually, that we have a community-oriented events where we're here, and it's been good because we've been tracking data and survey responses from each of these visits. We think that this initiative has led towards more scholarship money with Humana, and then programming, a new meat cutting certification process, involvement of some of our larger employers like Toyota and Ford. And we think that over this next year, focus on partnerships, which is an area of strength of mine, will only become even more prevalent, as I think we're going to be latching on to more statewide initiatives where we're adding value and utility to our communities, especially with local government as well. This next year is going to be dominated with implementing reforms, especially House Bill 619, our reform package, House Bill 5, our prison reentry bill, and also House Bill 419, which is our bill that helped reform the governance of our Kentucky Fire Commission. We don't take any of these lightly. In fact, we'll be having a meeting very soon on the implementation of 619 as a system. And so we're going to be spending a lot of time on that. So that will be part of my vision and goals for the upcoming year, is not only implementing the law, but also tying it into our new strategic plan that you all approved back in March. And now we have to implement it as well. I want to make this as cohesive and coherent as possible as well. You can also look forward to more involvement on career development this next year, and for two reasons. Number one is that some of our colleges do it very well. We have noticed through PLT meetings that some of our colleges may not be devoting as many resources as others towards career development. We have plenty of tools like Handshake and others, but perhaps we need to review all that. The second reason we need to do this is that the federal government, we believe, is going to start judging us on this metric, is post-graduation outcomes. And so it's important for us to be prepared for new metrics that are tied to federal funding when it comes to job outcomes for our system and for our graduates. Lastly, just want to say that we're happy to have out-of-town visitors. We're hosting folks from the highest levels of government here in Kentucky, showcasing programs like FAME. We also had a fantastic Going Pro signing event at the system office. We can't use the Capitol for the next few years, and guess what? We got dislocated as the Capitol gets renovated, which, by the way, some of our graduates are working on that renovation. And so we get to reinvent the Going Pro, and I think it's better than ever. And so this is something that we had the opportunity to reinvent, and it was really pro-business, pro-employer, and pro-student. And that's something I think is a highlight this past year. And moving into my last section of the written response, you had time to look at this, is that, we've moved out of this. The first year of the job was really focusing on compliance, and now it's going to be a focus on implementation. Again, working with our staff, your teams, your respective president and chancellor's leadership teams to implement all these new expectations for our system. But one thing that I noticed that we should welcome any additional opportunities for professional development for any KCTCS teammate. And in fact, tomorrow we'll be kicking off our second year of our reboot annual conference. We're excited about this. We have a virtual option. Thank you, Regent Powers. I know you put a lot of time in on this. But this is something that I think that we should really focus on, is making sure that there's that professional development opportunity that's free or at cost or low cost for as many of our KCTCS teammates as possible as well. A lot of talk on the feedback about employee benefits, et cetera. We take that very seriously. As you know, we had a single year increase of our health insurance costs of over 18%. We have decided to absorb that this past year. Our benefit rates are changing from 42, I believe, to 47%, which puts more strain on our budget. With that said, we want to make sure that we are looking towards other benefits that perhaps the other 4 years are offering. This is something I actually reviewed UK's benefit policy just a couple of weeks ago. And there are some things that perhaps we can look at when it comes to certain leave opportunities. We just have had a more organized day of service and perhaps a system-wide day of service across the system this coming year as well. But also be looking at ways for us to perhaps review healthcare insurance providers, which we're currently in the process of doing. We'll get those results back later this year. We also want to make sure that we have the ability for our campus security upgrades. I know this is something that we've talked about quite a bit. We didn't get as much asset preservation dollars as we did in previous years, but we're very thankful for the money we got. But I want to find a way to make this work so we can make that upgrade across Kentucky at the same time. Finally, just want to say it's an honor to work with you all. We have a strategic plan that's pulling together conclusions from Huron to SGR 179 to our bill that just got reformed. And I really want to create a culture this next year of this is our one path forward, which is embodying the strategic plan and implementation of that so that we can be the best version of ourselves as well. So I'd like to conclude, executive committee members and other guests. Thank you once again for overwhelmingly positive comments. Thank you for pointing out areas that I need to improve upon. I think we're going to need to have a substantial conversation on dual credit, student engagement and competitions, employee benefits, exploring other revenue opportunities for the system as well, and looking at the additional expectation that when possible, we can sell property and have a better management of the utilization of our buildings, which we'll be doing this coming year. With that said, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. And additionally, one last piece of homework, if you have any items that you want on the vision and goals, please email me over the next week or so. I'm actually working on that for a presentation in the June meeting, which I believe we adopt those in September. So if you have any vision and goals that you definitely want to be considered, please let me know now. I'm happy to incorporate those. With that said, I'd like to humbly return the meeting back to you, Mr. Chairman, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Chair Hamilton, I think you need to unmute on your phone by pressing *6. Doesn't look like that worked. Keith, do you have any idea how we can unmute on his phone? Any additional comments for Dr. Quarles and the evaluation?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to I'm glad to see Dr. Neal and Todd there, and they didn't act like they went to sleep anytime during the conference, so I appreciate that. Dr. Quarles, I was a superintendent for 13 years, and I never got that good evaluation. So I'm telling you, you must be doing something really nice, that situation. So I'm proud of you, as all the board is, and just continue the hard work. And I'm sure your evaluation will be much better than the UK evaluation.
Well, thank you, Regent Stevens, for your kind words. And I feel like we're on a roll right now. I feel we have wind in our sails. We have a lot of momentum behind us. We're trying to transition the system away from ghosts of our past. I think that our relationship with Frankfurt, with our legislators, the governor's office, is really strong right now. Also, our congressional delegation. So I'm ready for what's next, but there's always room for improvement. So again, if there's opportunities for me to do better, you want me to focus on certain areas, please let me know. But thank you for your kind words, James Lee.
I'd like to second Regent Stevens there. We're very proud of the job that you've done this year. I also do believe that you should trademark "Corners of the Commonwealth" as your new catchphrase. That's really great. Build a whole PR campaign around that. But no, we are very proud of you. I think that is evidenced by the comments from the board. I see Chair Hamilton shaking his head, wishing that he could probably say something, because I know we're all in agreement with this. So thank you for all the effort you and your cabinet have put forth this year. And we'll look forward to what's next.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Same here.
Thank you.
At this time, we need a motion to recommend to the KCTCS Board of Regents to approve the KCTCS President's 2025-2026 final evaluation.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Looks like Chair Hamilton got it.
Well, we can't hear him, so unfortunately, it's got to be you,
It's
Regent
me.
Whitten.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry about that, Chair Hamilton. All right. Chair Hamilton, I know you can't vote, so I'll go on to Vice Chair Stevens.
Aye.
Regent Secretary Whitten.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. And again, we don't have to wait a whole year to evaluate me. So again, if there's anything that comes up, I try to reach out to you on a frequent nature, but if there's any areas you want to talk about, I'm just a phone call away. I appreciate that.
Is there any new business? If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any objection to the motion to adjourn? Motion passes by consensus. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.